Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Quack's House Calls. I'm Dr. Quack, and today we're going to talk about this right here. We're going to talk about September 11th, 2001. Today is the 22nd anniversary of that. A lot of time has passed. Right now there are adults that are alive that were not around for this, that weren't even born during 9/11. And for them and for others, I'm going to relive a little bit of what happened on that day for me. Because the first thing I can tell you is I was in an infantry unit. I was in a mechanized infantry unit. I was a combat medic. We didn't get a lot of opportunities to come out there and go work in a hospital. And my name was picked to go get some training. It's about a week long. I was going to go work in an emergency room. And the first day I went up there was September 10th. September 10th, I got to go up and I got to meet all the people I'd be working with. It was basically orientation. You know, they were showing us around the emergency room where things were. A little bit of training in the conference room, and then we went home. I went home, I think it was around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and you know, I was single back then, so what I do later at night, I went out, I had fun, I went and hanged out with some friends. You know, we would go to a bar, you know, have some beers, stuff like that. That was typical. But then the next day, I remember coming in, and you know, everybody was really sad and really quiet, and I didn't know what exactly was going on when I first got in there. And then I found out, and my heart just dropped. I was working at Darnell Army Community Hospital in Fort Hood, Texas. There was, you know, a lot of chaos going on. I mean, I can tell you that roads were shut down. You know, shortly after I got there, we were all pretty much told to stay there until command had decided that it was okay. You know, I was in a hospital, didn't know really anybody. None of my fellow infantrymen, none of my fellow medics was around me. It was me and a bunch of people I did not know. And, you know, we all were, it's like the world stopped. And I can remember us all being in the conference room. There was a TV, we were watching what was going on, and just everybody was completely shook. Everybody was completely sad. You know, there was people crying, you know, which, yeah, definitely. I mean, the Twin Towers got hit. The Pentagon got hit. Somebody I knew was working down there near the Pentagon. I was really concerned about that at that point. Really worried. You know, there was people there that knew others that were working in New York near the Twin Towers. And, yeah. It was a really rough time. It was. I mean, you had snipers on top of the hospital. You had snipers on top of, you know, command's buildings, the division. You had 3 divisions down there. You had everything just pretty much shut down. You know, and people were really scared. You know, I can remember seeing on the news, a lot of people were scared to leave their homes. You know, it made people feel something. It was America. You know, it's what we all felt. You know, it hurt us hard. There was something else that happened that day. I don't want to go into too many specifics, but I'm going to try to tell this story the best I can. I was outside smoking, right? I was outside smoking, and I was getting ready to come into the emergency room to come work. And here comes an ambulance that pulls up. And this is a little different, but this happened right there, 9/11. There was a young baby that was brought in, roughly about 18 months. And this may be sad. You may want to stop this. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. There was a baby that was brought in, and it had got hit with a frying pan by his father. This guy was a soldier. This guy was extremely stressed out from what we could tell. You could see it. Baby wouldn't stop crying. He didn't know how to handle it. Those are the two things that I will always remember when it comes to 9/11. You know, it was such a dangerous day. You know, a lot of people felt sad. I can tell you about the next day, though. September 12th, 2001. There was a different feel in the air. You saw a lot of American flags on base and off base. You know, a lot of people feeling patriotism. A lot of people, you know, taking pride in being an American. And I don't think there's anything ever wrong with that. You should always be proud of the country you are from. You know, and it was like a beautiful sight. I can remember on SmackDown with the WWE, because a lot of sports wanted to cancel their season, wanted to shorten their seasons. Yeah, the NFL did. Vince McMahon said, we got to move on. We got to move on as Americans. And he hosted SmackDown. It was the first major event that was taking place since. And if you have never seen it, you should. It'll bring a tear to your eye, especially if you lived through this. I think that moment, Vince McMahon was a genius. You know, and a lot of people told him, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do it. And he did. And he went on with it. And it was a great feeling. You know, not just watching wrestling, which, you know, I did. I loved watching even back then. But it was a good sign for America. It was. And now you fast forward roughly 22 years later. Some of that stuff still haunts me. Because of that war, that's set up, you know, because of that day, it set up wars. It set up things where I got deployed 3 times in my life. You know, all because of the Twin Towers going down, because of terrorists. It was a sad feeling, you know, at that day. But I will tell you, going to war made it much worse. As a vet, I recognize this day totally. I do not celebrate it. I mourn it. You know, it's not Happy 9/11 Day. It's a day where you have remembrance. And seeing the way this country is now versus the way it was back then is day and night. And honestly, we need to get back to that. We need to get back to 9/11 days. Not the tragedy, but I'm talking 9/12. When people were proud to be Americans. When people, you know, displayed their flags. When people were nice to each other. When people respected each other and cared for their fellow man and women. They cared. They wanted to make sure that people were okay, that they were safe. Not today. Today is a lot more of, you know, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2. That is a lot of people's mindsets. And it's sad. Because they don't care. And they should. So if you're watching this video, and I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, I hope to get some more. But if you're watching this video, I hope you think about this day. I hope you remember it if you were there. And if you weren't there, talk to some people that were around that time. Ask them where they were, because a lot of them will tell you. It was truly, just a rough time in American history. But in the same respect, it brought out some of the best of us. It did. It made us proud to be Americans. I want to thank you all for tuning into this. I'm going to have some more episodes coming out this week, including a Q&A. If there's anything you would like to ask about anything, I don't care what it is. It could be about the military. It could be about pro wrestling. It could be about the promo world. It could be about anything that's on your mind that you want my response to. By all means, put it in the comments section. I'll answer it the best I can. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and God bless.